And it's time for the 50 over World Cup 2023. Uh, we would have wanted to have maybe Avnish and Akshay, a typical anchor, so to speak, here, guiding, facing the first ball, so to speak. But nevertheless, given that they are busy with their fan cams and interacting with people out there in Ahmedabad, I thought I might as well chip in and do whatever I can to ensure that the preview we start off in a very aggressive manner. Uh,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
I think this
yeah.
is like giving the senior pro the first strike. Please, आप strike ले लो. बड़ा game experience है.
No,
Please, you take the chance.
actually,
No,
I'm
but
just I'm taking a leaf out of Joss Butler's book, right? We are not here to defend
Oh,
anything. We are here to attack. I don't
wow.
like
but
the word.
but this goes with the theme of this World Cup. So many teams have so many players unavailable. So we are just respecting the theme of the World Cup. We also
Yeah,
have at least one one person unavailable. So yeah, hopefully, despite that, looking forward to a good start both for the
yeah,
tournament and for us.
absolutely. I know it's just a few minutes before the toss. I would want to know from both of you. I'll start with Nikhil first. Nikhil, the team that wins the toss, what do you think they should win by?
Bad. I just think it is a better place to be because I don't know how many of them will be wanting to bowl in that heat. So it's just better to bat, get a good score in. And again, first games at all venues will be a bit tricky because people will be getting used to what to expect in the second innings. So again, hoping for a good, accurate pitch report if it exists anywhere. But having said that, I think in the IPL we've seen movement under lights, but that I think happens way later in the day. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure how much of it will actually happen right through the day. So I'm expecting a medium kind of score in terms of 250 to 300 ke beech mein. So I think bat first, get the bowlers resting and see how the pitch behaves, and then if there is a team that is good to over attack or get a above par score, it is England. So I think it will just suit them perfectly.
Hmm. Hmm. Gurgai, do you echo those thoughts, or do you think it differently?
Yeah, definitely agree on the first match at every venue being tricky because I was just looking at the fantasy numbers and previews. Uh, Teams have preferred to chase, and they've had a good success rate while chasing, even in those list A games. Not a lot of ODIs have happened, only three, so can't read too much into those numbers. But yes, it's going to be tricky because you also don't want to be in a position that you win the toss, you choose to bat first, and then you realize that the pitch got better to bat on. So as a captain, it won't be the worst thing to lose the toss because it's a very tricky call. Regardless of whatever we say, the biases of the shorter format do come into play, and we saw in the IPL as well that this was a predominantly venue where teams wanted to chase. But right, what Nikhil mentioned is also correct that that movement was happening around 7:38. Now we are not even sure because the game starting at 2, you would expect the second innings to start by 6:30. Will that movement be there from 6:30 to 7:15, 7:30? We don't know, because if in that amount of time, the bowling team would be expected to bowl around 13 to 15 overs, and by that time, if you have batter set, then you can counter movement far more easily than when you are just new to the crease. So, trusting it, it's a very tough toss to call in the sense what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, probably a good toss to lose, as they say. Also, one bit regarding the pointers that you guys have made. Our statsman Anirudh Kasargod did a very good piece explaining all the venues and their integrated details. I think you guys discussed it in the mega preview also. One of the factors in Ahmedabad was actually the difference in the bowling average of spinners in the first innings versus second. In first innings, they are a lot more effective than the second. So this also sort of confuses the captains. If they want their spinners in the game, they might want to bowl first. But let's see what the captains opt to do. I mean, there's some bit of news that we heard yesterday. We already knew that Kane Williamson will not be playing this game, but there was news coming out of England's camp that Ben Stokes also might not be available. Guys, again, I'll start with Nikhil first. What do you think? I mean, who do you think is a bigger loss? Is it Kane Williamson to New Zealand or Ben Stokes for England? Particularly, let's just talk about not the World Cup, just for this game. Who do you think is more important for the team?
Kane Williamson, hands down. I think they still have people to replace Ben. And again, a lot is made of experience, but then every team has experience going to the World Cup. It doesn't always result into results. So I think England, they'll probably play Brook. While we speak, Stokes is having a fitness test of sorts. So hopefully that we'll know about it in more detail. But I think what Kane offers to New Zealand is a lot more in terms of stability, consistency, and that's again Stokes. You expect him to step up in the crunch moments or clutch games, as it's rightly famed. So that's why I feel Kane at number three offers a lot more. It's like a Joe Root and Kane Williamson or Virat Kohli. That is the kind of spot that Kane plays in. Stokes is still more adapting to the situation and either going after the bowling or giving time. So I feel Stokes is still more reacting to situation as opposed to Kane, who is going to set up the game for New Zealand. So I
Hmm.
think Kane is a bigger loss in that sense.
Gurkirat, I mean, do you agree? Is it so straightforward?
It's a tough one to call, but with Stokes not bowling, that call becomes easier because if
Hmm.
you are comparing a batter to batter comparison, and what Williamson's presence will then allow is that it allows the likes of Conway, Latham, and Mitchell to take those extra risks, which they may avoid in the absence of Williamson, because then one of Conway or Latham will have to go in with the role that we have to drop anchor if we lose early wickets. So and we have seen that when it comes to arresting or collapse, Williamson has been very good at it. His defensive game rarely is right up there with any batter in the world. So yes, but I think what makes this blow softer for both the teams is that Stokes has not been a part of England's ODI scheme of things for the last year or so. And if we look at from 2019 till now, even Williamson has missed a lot of games due to elbow injury, then having that elbow surgery. So that softens the blow considerably. That you have people who can bat and who can replace. It's not something. It's like India losing Virat Kohli. It's not as like India lose Virat Kohli for the World Cup opener, because Virat Kohli has played a lot more ODI cricket, or India losing a Hardik Pandya, etc., etc. So the fact that both teams have played without both these players softens the blow considerably.
So but we have news coming in. New Zealand have opted to bowl, so maybe they have read a venue statistic piece, and they want their spinners to be in action in this game. Uh, I mean, there are a few things to look at before we get to the proper 11. So, Gurkirat, made a point around someone else will have to take the Williamson responsibility or the Williamson burden, which, by the way, Williamson has hit at a strike rate of around 70 in the ODIs in the last World Cup. So, which player do you feel is more adept to sort of take that role? Because on one hand there is Conway, who we all know has a superb spin game, but then he's someone who's gonna bat in the power play, and you at some level you also want to maximize the power play. And then you have Latham, who again has a very good spin game and has done it. He's averaging, I think, around in 50s, if I'm not mistaken, in India. So who do you think is more adept into molding into Williamson's big shoes when it comes to New Zealand?
See, I think again it's something which will have to be situational and dependent upon conditions. If you go out to bat first, or if you go out to bat and you see the conditions are flat, where you can easily hit through the line, play the cross batted shots, then you may not necessarily have to drop anchor. You could bat normally, like how Conway does when he has that security. Conway, I think, regardless of the fact that Williamson's there or not, is the kind of player that will take a few balls. He does that even
Hmm.
in the shortest format. So once he's got the measure of the pitch and he feels the pitch is good enough, he'll bat accordingly. That dropping anchor will be situational if you lose 2 3 wickets inside the 15 overs, then. But I think if you've not lost any wickets and you feel the ball's not swinging, then you might as well play your natural game.
Yeah, I mean, pertinent points. Nikhil, any update on the playing 11?
Well, lots of people missing out, which is again not surprising. Looks like unfortunately Lockie is injured. Topley is out. Vokes is playing. Ben Stokes is of course not playing, and Sodi, Saudi, and Kane. We knew Kane and Saudi were not playing. Sodhi is also missing out. So probably
This
more all-rounders playing than New Zealand. Let's see.
this basically means that both Rachin Ravindra and Mark Chapman are playing.
And even Mitchell Santner.
Mitchell
Yeah,
Santner,
so I mean,
I thought
Yeah,
was going to
yeah.
play regardless.
so we have the lineups: Conway, Young, Ravindra, Darren Mitchell, Tom Latham, Glenn Phillips, Mark Chapman, Neesham, Santner, Henry Bolt. I feel that's a very light bowling attack, but
Oh, yeah.
that's a very light bowling attack in my opinion. But and
Hmm.
they've opted to bowl first, so clearly they want to use the batting depth. As
Yeah.
Yeah. What about England?
Bairstow, Malan, Joe Root, Harry Brook is playing, Josh Butler, Moeen Ali, Livingston, Chris Wokes, Sam Curran, Adil Rashid, Mark Wood. Clearly far settled. Uh,
Hmm.
Decent bowling options. Seven bowling options. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and eight actually. Brook was also bowling
Yeah, I
off
mean,
spin before the game. So yeah.
with England and Australia, they always have around 8 bowling options in their 11. First thoughts. I mean, Nikhil has already he's gone on to say that yeah, New Zealand are bowling light. Gurkirat, what do you make of it? Because see, on one hand, we feel that Lockie Ferguson is a frontline bowler, but then there are days we've seen that in the IPL as well that he's unplayable. But more often than not, he ends up being the most expensive bowler on the day. If I'm not mistaken, in the last 3 years, he's one of the most expensive bowlers among these top 10 teams anyway. So, is it a tactical move? They don't want to. They just want to ensure that they have enough batters to counter England's firepower.
No, I think they've said that it's a niggle. That's what I'm reading. I don't think it can be tactical if you have James Neesham at 8, because you cannot in ODI cricket. I don't think it's possible for any team to now go in with only three specialist bowlers, with the two new balls and the middle overs becoming huge. So and Sodhi is also missing out, so which is a surprise. I mean, I felt that if Lockie was not there, they could have gone with Sodhi,
Yeah,
but they probably feel this way, and I think given the 11 that they have, it makes a lot of sense that why they have chosen to bat. But even then, if this 11 ends up conceding 340, 350, you could have James Neesham at 8, you could have Mitchell Santner at 9. It's not going to be an easy chase. 350 is never an easy chase, even though how it's been breached, how chasing 300 has become far more easier. But with the ball swinging under lights, at least you'd hope for some movement. I don't think it's an easy chase, and like Nikhil said, very bowling light. And I don't feel that this combination is sustainable. They could have really played Sodhi if Lockie was injured, because you want at least four proper bowlers. You can rotate the rest, but right now you have to get 20 overs out of Neesham, out of Phillips, out of Chapman, out of Mitchell, out of Ravindra. I feel it's too much to ask. Uh, it's really too much to ask from all, because they are not your full time bowlers. And Neesham's numbers have not been great. I was just reading he averages some 200 plus, and economy rates over 6 also. So yeah,
200
uh,
plus. So that means
yeah.
he's not there to pick wickets anyway. Uh, so one of the situation is they have Kyle Jamieson as the traveling reserve. I don't think he's in the squad. Am I right, Nikhil?
No,
And
he's not in the squad.
so
He's a
this is the
reserve.
situation, right? So he's there if let's say Saudi is ruled out properly. So are teams taking a lot of gamble that way, that they're essentially playing with a 14-man squad? We also see Australia doing something similar where we don't know when head is going to be available. So do you think it's a prudent move to do that?
See, definitely it's not a foolproof move or a safe move to be with 14 people. But again, I think they are carrying reserves, and again, that is what they feel. At any point of time, if we need someone, then we can call them up very
This
immediately.
is
And
so this is my question, right? I mean, as far as my understanding is, like let's say if they replace Saudi with Kyle Jamieson, they won't be able to bring Saudi back in.
yeah, yeah,
So this
yeah,
is the challenge that they're carrying. If let's say
yeah,
they did not select Saudi in the squad anyway, and did select Kyle Jamieson initially, that would have been a
yeah.
lot more tactical, because then let's say if you have a injury while on the field or a niggle in the nets which no one knows about, there was always been an option of a fit Saudi returning back for that injured player. So do you think they've not played it as smartly as they should have probably?
See, I think a lot of this goes down to their confidence on the player being ready, but maybe just not being fit for that particular event. Like you saw, again, may not be the right example, but how India planned with KL and Shreyas, that they were very confident of them being ready and available for the Asia Cup game, for the Asia Cup, which is why they kept Ishan up top only in the West Indies series, because they were very sure. With Australia also,
Hmm.
you see, Australia have head out for 3 weeks. Still, they are not worried about him, and they are saying, okay, we'll still manage. Maybe because they feel that the progress is there. Maybe it's just not 100% as of now. So I think that is the only logic that I can think of in terms of this is why they're not wanting to have that extra player in. And let's see how it works out, because by the end of this tournament, I see a lot of teams will have to dig deep, not just in the games, but also in their reserves, because rotation will be paramount.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was just looking for numbers. You know what? On it's a piece by Anirudh on the all rounders that have. So Nisham, since the beginning of 2020, has a bowling average of 260. It's not even 200. It's 260 with an economy rate of 6.34,
तो
which
एवरेज
basically
एवरेज विनिंग फर्स्ट इनिंग स्कोर्स तो अकेला पड़वा रहा है.
which basically means if Nisham bowls 10 overs in 4 games, then he might pick a wicket. Even then also
Five
maybe not,
matches. Yeah,
because
five maybe.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
6.3
four.
economy, 40 wins,
Yeah,
258 runs. So
258. Yeah,
maybe when he bowls, gets a bowl in the fifth game, he'll pick wickets.
fifth game. Yeah, yeah.
Now,
नहीं
So
see,
that's a
I
good.
नहीं यार, इतना इतना भी मत खींचो बेचारे
itna
को.
nahi, I'm
What
just
he'll end
saying
up taking
numbers.
a 3-5.
But this is
See,
That's
this is what the numbers tell. I mean, Gurkeerat
no,
has
uh,
a
my
valid.
my my
Uh,
only point here is they will not need him to bowl more than five, is what I feel,
yeah, yeah.
so
because
that means
you have
he's gonna get a wicket in the ninth or the 10th over. So basically, if New Zealand go on to the semi-final is the game where he's gonna pick wickets. Maybe against India, you never know.
नहीं वहाँ पे नहीं. Let's not go
or
that
maybe
route.
or
I'm just
maybe pull off a catch, a one-handed stunner
Yeah,
at point.
yeah,
नहीं
yeah, yeah.
नहीं.
I,
I can't hear anything.
I
Good
think
that
this is a good segue to our next segment, which is the X factor of the day. इतनी मेहनत से स्टिंग बनाया तो चलाना तो पड़ेगा. So I'll start with Gurkeerat first. Now Gurkeerat, I mean, if you have to pick one player for this particular game who's going to make a difference, maybe pick one from each side. Who the teams would really need to click in order to have an edge in this game.
Yeah, so I had Mitch Santner as my MVP, and I feel with with New Zealand having an extremely light bowling attack, his role in the middle overs to pick up those wickets will become even more crucial. I think it helps him that they're bowling first, so there with the heat could help him in terms of offering some grip of the pitch. So Mitch Santner, I feel, will have to be New Zealand's
Yeah,
X factor
and
to
and
keep
and, and
To keep England to a chaseable total.
yeah, and Robin Kumar in the comment section is agreeing with you. Robin, if you'd not like the stream, now would be a good time for you to like, because you and Gurkeerat are thinking alike, which is a compliment in itself. And all the others watching, 25 of you, please do like this stream. Yeah, Gurkeerat. Moving on, England's X factor.
England's X factor, uh, difficult to call with so many players, but yeah, I'm going with Mark Wood. Maybe Mark Wood probably doing the job in terms of, again, middle overs, and we that English middle order. If you look at Moeen Ali, or middle order or lower middle order, if you look at Moeen Ali, if you look at Sam Curran, I wouldn't really say that Livingston is someone who really struggles with pace. But if you bowl him those wide lines, then that could be something that could work for Mark Wood versus. Sorry, I've just confused it. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I feel Mark Wood with that extra pace could really be a factor in the middle overs. I'm really sorry. I just confused both
Gurkeerat
the
is
teams.
feeling the heat. Yeah, Nikhil,
कोई नहीं होता है.
do you agree with Gurkeerat, or do you have a different set of players?
For New Zealand, I think Rachit Ravindran will be that guy who I feel
Oh,
could be the X factor, because again he'll bat one down, and again the threat of Mark Wood or else should come in the second, like post 15-20 overs. So that is where I expect him to give them a decent start if he gets in that early. So that is with the bat, and with the ball, I think Santner hasn't been taking a lot of wickets. And teams also at times are probably a bit more happier to knock him around and not, take a few risks. Ravindra had a good series against them, even in the ODI series that we just saw between the two teams. So I think that's where the chance lies for Ravindra to have a good game with both bat and ball. And because if he clicks, then they don't have to worry about that extra all-rounder bottom there, 258 average wala. So that should be taken care of. And for England, I think I agree with Mark Wood point. But I feel again, I don't know if it's X factor, but I think Joe Root getting into form early into the tournament is massive for England. So
No,
yeah, those two.
Nikhil has put me. It's as if like Nikhil knows the script. मतलब मेरे मुंह पे अब stats हैं because of the things that Nicholas said. So the reason, I mean,
Wow.
New Zealand, of course, the spinners are not really wicket taking; they are more containing spinners. But that also results in New Zealand being the worst death bowling side among these 10 teams. Maybe let's take Netherlands out of the equation here. Today as well, they don't have any proper death bowler, so to speak. That will be a cause of concern. Second is now Joe Root. In his last 9 ODI innings, he's averaging 15.2. Gurkirat, do you think this is an anomaly, or is there something to read into this?
You'll have to feel that it's an anomaly because, yeah, last 2.5 years or 2 years, I've not seen anyone bat better than him in Test cricket. And
Yeah,
it's not that he's batting in that conventional manner in Test cricket. He's taking the attack to the bowlers, and I feel his range of shots probably is the most among the Fab Four. So you you'd think that a guy who's nailing Test cricket across conditions should be able to do well in the shorter format where pitches are far more easier for batting. Yeah, I think it's an anomaly. Maybe could just be a matter of not getting in touch and lacking that confidence. Sometimes it can happen wherein you just have string of low scores due to some bad luck, some good balls, and then you start doubting yourselves. So yeah, I wouldn't really think that it's a big deal in terms of uh, there should be major concerns. I really expect him to get back to form.
all right. In interest of time to move on to the uh, second last section, which is called key battles. Herein, we'll talk about all the different matchups that might be interesting in this game. So again, sting बनाई है तो दिखानी तो पड़ेगी. Okay, Nikhil bhai, this is your forte. One matchup you're looking forward to in this game.
I mean, it is not even not obvious that it is Trent Bolt versus Joe Root. The guy who's taken Joe Root out the most number of times is Trent Bolt. So 11 balls, 5 runs, 3 wickets. It is horrible. Uh,
In
you
fact,
can check it out on
in
cricket.com.
yes, in fact, his career average against Bolt is just 18 with 5 dismissals.
Yeah, and which is why I pointed out to Root because you look at his matchups: 11 balls, 5 runs, 3 wickets versus Bolt, 24 balls, 20 runs, 2 wickets versus Rachit Ravindra, and
Mm,
Matt Henry के सामने 32 balls which is 7 runs. So again, uh, may not be the right data to back Root, but I feel if Root is able to get himself in and get a good score, so and if he's able to see Bolt out, so because with Henry out of touch at times and the bowling attack being very thin, Bolt not taking wickets will put a lot of pressure on the rest of the bowling attack.
absolutely. And given Nikhil has mentioned Matt Henry, I would ask everyone to go to the cricket.com app, website,
Yes.
MWeb, wherever you are, and read that brilliant piece done by Anirudh Suresh, where he sort of, enlightens us. No one, I mean, we don't really see Matt Henry in that light. He's sort of slipped under the radar, but his numbers are right up there. So do check that piece out. Gurkirat, the one key
I
battle
think,
for you.
yeah, before I go to that, I think Matt Henry is the probably the most New Zealand player amongst the team of Kiwis, because New Zealand is one team everyone takes lightly. I think Matt Henry is that player. When you really saw those numbers, you felt stunned. Ki, bhai,
Yeah.
why is no one talking about him? So yeah,
So I'll tell you the premise of that piece. So Anirudh and I were having a discussion. He gave me two stats that player A has a career numbers in ODIs of these many wickets. This is his economy. This is his bowling average. And then player B is this. Player A is considered an ODI legend versus player B no one knows about. And those two numbers belong to Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Matt Henry. And that is why I actually pinged him on our own personal group that you should have also brought in the Bhuvi angle to the Matt Henry piece. But yeah, Gurkirat, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, Brook versus Harry Brook versus Santner could be a good battle because we've seen, Brook has sometimes struggled versus spin. If Sodi was there, I would have said that the spin duo versus Harry Brook could be a battle to look out for because many times again, as we have seen with young players, with Shubman Gill, we say, oh, he's an Ahmedabad bully. With Harry Brook, the conversation is that he really struggles against spin. So with Sodi not being there, I think now the battle's slightly equal. I still feel that it is a battle where Santner could come on top, but it's a battle to look out for because if Brook can show signs that he can hold his own, he may not have to attack spin, but if he can hold his own against spin, then versus pace, that the sky is the limit for him. Really, he has such a good range. I did not wanted to use that sky is the limit because we've started to just associate it with Surya Kumar Yadav, but couldn't really get any other adjective. But yeah, that is one battle I want to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, if I may chip in, I would have really wanted to see Adil Rashid versus Josh Butler, but sorry, East Sodhi versus Josh Butler. देखा इसलिए I'm not
ठीक है।
allowed to speak. So
ये आज काफी होने वाला है।
yeah,
Actually, Adil
each-
Rashid, Adil Rashid could be a big player today in the second innings if it slows down, because New Zealand are a side who at times have shown some struggles against spin and leg spin, and again, most teams do eventually struggle if conditions are also slower. But I think if there is a big score on the board, and then they are able to use Rashid. So there are a lot of. This is the first time, Somesh, you should be happy. There are 6 left-handers in New Zealand. 6. तो it is.
न्यूजीलैंड के बैलेंस से मैं हमेशा हैप्पी रहता हूँ. I mean, they
तो आज
just
आज
do
कैसे
things
happy
very
हो?
professionally.
This is 6 left-handers. Too many नहीं हो गया.
No,
It's
but
better
yeah,
to,
this
it's
is
always better to be skewed towards
but
left-handers than
but
right-handers.
this is actually a point of discussion that Adil Rashid versus Latham could also be a good battle to dictate how the chase goes. But I have just one question, which
Okay, while Gurkirat is stuck, Nikhil, do you feel Joe Root will
Chapman to come
yeah.
at
Okay, Gurkirat,
Chapman's
your internet is a bit dodgy, so maybe you can repeat that question.
yeah. So Chapman slated to come at number 7.
Hmm.
Do you feel that it's one slightly too low for him, and could there be a switch between Chapman and Ravindra given the situation, or maybe he
Actually,
could?
Nikhil ने इतना confidently बोला है, but for me, I was always under the impression that it'll be Chapman who would be batting at 3. But let's see. Let's see what happens. The
I am
point
only
regarding
going. I am only going by the
team
draft
sheet.
shown on team sheet.
Okay. But given the number of left-handers, do you feel Joe Root bowling?
Yeah, should bowl.
Yeah, but maybe second
But
innings.
there is Moeen Ali, there is Livingston. So
Moeen Ali bhi hai. So yeah, not needed. Yeah. So coming back to the Josh Butler point that I made, Josh Butler in 7 ODI innings in India is averaging 11.9, and most of those dismissals are against leg spin, and that is why I was more interested to see Josh Butler versus Ish Sodhi. Okay, so now that we are done with it, I just want to know the first innings predictions, guys. We already have comments coming in. Paras Arora, please like the stream if you've not done so already. He's asking, is 417 the highest World Cup total going down today? थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया, but yeah, what do you guys think?
I think 100 runs lesser is possible. 317 could be a score that in that range, 310, 320. I wouldn't have said this, but New Zealand's bowling is light.
No, fair. I think I would usually stick with VVS at 281, but again that will be a probably 50-60 shot if it is flat. So 321 maybe, if not 281.
Okay, actually I had 280 in my mind, but then I'll in Avnish's lingo I'll play the devil's advocate here and say 260 maybe. Let's see. And people are chipping in with their own matchups, right, guys? Bolt versus Johnny Bairstow, 9 innings, 4 dismissals, strike rate of 72. Thank you, Satya, for that interesting bit of nugget. I'm assuming that it's correct. And please do like the stream if that is correct. Meanwhile, time to move on to probably our last segment, which is called Did You Know? Yeah, time to plug in the Did You Know, Shaunak? Wherever you are, we really want to know. Yeah, so the one bowler that is missing from New Zealand's armory today, and probably at least for the half of this World Cup, would be Tim Southee. So New Zealand's best ever ODI spell was by Tim Southee, and it happened to be against England in a World Cup game. So very big miss as far as England are concerned. So that this is our new segment, which we were trying to, which we would replicate throughout the World Cup for all, what, 48 games, yeah, 48 games, guys. Almost time for the game to begin. We wouldn't keep anyone, either of you and even the audience, waiting to no, not get the first over, not being able to watch the first over or a few balls of it, just to end this stream at the end of the first, before the first innings begin. Guys, who do you think starts favorite? Is it England clearly? Like, you've sort of, your assessment so far suggests that you, both of you, are inclined towards England in this game.
Yes, I think England definitely starts favorites on paper and with the kind of 11 they have. But if New Zealand are able to keep them to a good score, so maybe I don't mind a 2015 thriller repeat of a low scoring one. So I'm in for low scoring any which ways.
Yeah, for me again, England go in as favorites. I had them as favorites for the game regardless, but this bowling lineup makes that call far easier.
Easy.
Hmm.
ये सब
Nikhil,
ये सब बोलने के बाद मालूम पड़ा they get 150 all out.
तो कुछ नहीं,
yeah,
एक और दिन ट्रोलिंग से लेंगे.
Nikhil mentioned about the 2015 World Cup. In fact, even in the 1996 World Cup, which happened in the subcontinent, the first game was England versus New Zealand, and at Ahmedabad, and New Zealand went on to win that game. I had New Zealand as a winner for this game ahead of the tournament in my list of the results. That was before knowing the toss and whatnot, but I'm gonna stick to it. कुछ तो different रहे पैनल में, और नहीं हुआ तो फिर लाइक गुरकीरत सेट फिर से ट्रोलिंग सह लेंगे भाई, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. ये तुमने सोचा भी कैसे कि न्यूजीलैंड जीत सकती है ये मैच. ठीक है, एनीवे, या
Yeah.
गुरकीरत, you saying some parting words?
No, I wasn't. If you want, I can.
No, it's
But
fine.
I
Then it's
wasn't.
fine. Okay, guys, I mean,
My parting words wouldn't have completed in time.
yeah, that's true. That's true. All of us know that by now. I mean, thanks, Nikhil, Gurkirat, for joining us. We'll see you at the end of the game. Hopefully, it's a very good game, very good start to what is going to be a very important ODI World Cup in a larger scheme of things. Those of us who've joined, please do like the stream. Like I said, share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We'll be here with all the games, all the previews, reviews, and even the mid-innings shows for all India games, and of course the semi-finals and finals as well. So see you probably at around, what, 9:30ish, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if the overrates ensure that we are here by 9:30. Till then, it's goodbye from me, and goodbye from Nikhil, Gurkira.
Cheers.